Cube League Season 6. I'm Persephorus.
I'm Mr. Control.
We would like to welcome you into our world of Cube League. And by doing that, we want to go over a few things. What is the Cube League? What is our team structure and our players? And what is the Cube itself? So when we say what is the Cube League, well, the Cube League it's a 5-week league where we take some of Magic Online's, funnest, hardest, and most unique cubes, and we put them into a paper format.
Yeah.
And then these players that we have 8 players. We pair them up randomly into 4 teams, and then they play 2v2 after they draft this as a group of 8. They play for points each week, so you got to win to get points. And if you get the most points at the end of the season,
we have ourselves a champion.
I think so. So with all of this said, I think right now we can get into who the players are. Wow, that seems like a pretty strong list of players that we've got. Pretty excited to see what teams they're on. So let's go ahead and introduce their teams. We've got Team YYY, which is Sir Brew-A-Lot, who's been a champion before. And we've also got a rookie with us this season that goes by the name Han Clinto.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how these two draft up together because, Sir Brew-A-Lot, we know what we expect him to do. He's a lot of mid-range, a lot of control decks. And Team Han Clinto, we honestly don't know how he plays yet.
Absolutely. So I think they're a pretty strong team. And then we've got Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Both of these guys are veterans for us. We have Heartbreaker, who was on Season 5. And we also have The Beatdown, who was on Season 5. And both of these guys are true and through drafters.
Absolutely. They both love that big, beefy creatures just bash you in the face type of decks. Mm-hmm. So I hope they manage to try to stay off of one another so they can have both really good, strong decks coming into this.
I think it's an interesting dynamic between them because they do like to draft very similar decks. The next team is going to be Just Cuddleland. So we have a player that is returning from Season 5 with G-Dog Buzz. And we have a player that hasn't been around for a little while, and he's returning also with Dr. No.
These guys are both a little similar in play style,
a little bit.
In draft, but we really haven't seen their real big strong suit. They've done really well in the previous that we've seen, but we haven't seen their actual full potential yet. It's going to be interesting seeing that coming through.
Yes. And the last team we've got has 2 former champions.
Oh.
So we've got Team Midgrow, who is Dispersity and Yowza. Yowza was a Season 3 champ, or Season 5 champ, and Dispersity was a Season 3 champ.
Yeah, these two guys they've honed in on their drafting skills. They've learned to read the signals to go into different lanes, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they're able to navigate their way over these next 5 weeks and their play style and their different play abilities.
Absolutely. I think all these teams, they have their very strong suits. I think some of the players on the teams may draft similarly to their teammates. So it's really going to be interesting to see how they fare against each other.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's our teams. The very first cube that we have coming up, this is going to be an exciting one.
I actually enjoy this cube.
So this is the standard cube. And this is the place where, our players are going to get into the arena of standard and really battle it out. So let's talk about some of the archetypes that are inside of this exciting 360 card cube.
Oh, absolutely.
So we've got we've got an Orzhov life gain deck that can kind of come out of nowhere with a win. We've got cards like Luris in there.
Right.
We've got Angel of Destiny, Veto, which can give all your creatures lifelink, and then we've got Righteous Valkyrie in there also. I think it's pretty strong. I think Angel of Destiny is also in this cube, which
Wow.
Angel of Destiny can win with this life gain style package.
Absolutely. And like you said from the get-go, like this deck can come out of nowhere. If you're the only one in this lane, this deck can just come out. You see some small guys, and then all of a sudden, like you're just going, what happened?
What happened? All the life. So that's going to be a fun one to watch out for. We've got Azorius Flash Flyers. So we've got some low-cost flying creatures. We got Watcher of the Spheres that can make your creatures cost even less, and it also makes it gives itself a buff whenever a flying creature comes in. We've got Linvala, Cosmos Charger has flash, Thrix the Sudden Storm has flash. I mean, these are all big flying threats that just there they are.
Right. They love their opponent to they want to seem like a control deck at first, and then next thing you know, you're just being overrun with the board presence of all these flyers.
Absolutely. The next one we've got on our list is going to be Dimir Rogues. This can kind of go two ways.
Absolutely.
You can go with the mill package, which the rogues kind of like to mill a little bit, and then you can also just go with the straight beatdown of the rogues because they're pretty powerful all around. We've got Thieves Guild Enforcer, the little one drop that could. We've got Soaring Thought Thief, Zareth Sand the Trickster, and then we also have Midnight Clock. That kind of pairs into the mill part with Teferi's Tutelage.
Absolutely. So the way this works out is they come out like they feel like you're milling them out, and then before you know it, you're being overrun with creatures, and you don't know which one you need to stop because at any point they can just come back.
Absolutely. We've got a strong Selesnya counters deck. Conclave Mentor is right there at the front of the pack. It's a Selesnya card through and through. It's gonna continue to make all of your creatures that enter with +1/+1 counters bigger because it gives them an additional one. We've got Heliod Suncrown, Victory's Envoy, and then Vorinclex. Vorinclex is going to be the big one in this deck. So watch out for that one. If you're playing and you see a Selesnya card land first, that Conclave Mentor land first, you might want to try to get rid of it real quick.
And this style too. This deck can come out like looking very small at first, and then just start overtaking you with creatures and all their counters that they're just placing, and they just become bigger than your guys.
Yeah, that's very true. They're just going to start putting counters on everything. We got a Gruul Stompy deck, which, I mean, nothing says Stompy like Gruul says, right? So Gruul Smash is going to include Quartzwood Crasher, Questing Beast. We've got Yardo, the Wandering Monster, and then there's Titanoth Rex, the big 11/11 with Trample that you can cycle away and put a trample counter on another creature. I mean, it just wants to beat your face.
Absolutely. It wants to get down, land creatures fast, and just keep going to town. That's all it wants to do.
Absolutely. Beat. We've got a very interesting Giants deck. This Giants deck, it's another one of those, like, you can go two ways with it. You can go with a very strong Izzet build, or you can jump into Jeskai, because there's some white Giants also. So we've got Battle Frost and Fire, which is just a great saga for this archetype. Agar the Freezing Flame, Calamity Bearer, which just says Giants all over the place on it. It's got about 3/4 of a page of flavor text all over it. And then we've got Grasping Giant, which, if you guys don't know about Grasping Giant, you should know about Grasping Giant.
Yeah, this Giants deck can literally just it puts so much pressure on the opponent. It is absolutely probably one of my favorites I've seen out of these cubes is a Giants build, and this Giants build is absolutely hands down probably one of the hardest to deal with.
So next up in our list, we've got Sultai Reanimator. Sultai Reanimator seems fun. I mean, it's doing things that Sultai wants to do, which is ditch things in the yard maybe, or just watch them get put in the yard. You know, you play a little creature, let it get killed, reanimate it later.
Yeah, you never know.
Pretty good. So we've got King Nafri's Betrayal, which is another saga. We've got Nissa of the Shadowed Boughs. We've got Pelucranos Unchained, which is just another reoccurring nightmare. And then we've got Call of the Death Dweller, which can take some of those smaller creatures that, you know, were wiped away early on and put them right back on the battlefield. I almost look at Call of the Death Dweller like a very close card to Collected Company, because it's doing almost the same thing, except for I'm looking at my graveyard instead of off the top of my library.
Right. This deck, hands down, it's all mid-range. It wants to, you know, dump its stuff in the yard maybe a little bit, or hey, you happen to wipe me out with a Wrath effect. I'm bringing my stuff back. Here it is. Deal with it again. And it's true to the name. It's more of a reanimator than anything. And Pelucranos, he is the mid-range god. He is absolutely a powerhouse in this style of deck.
Yeah, Hydra going to get some. Next one is going to be Esper Control. Esper Control can be more of a Foretell deck than anything. Which I'm excited about the Foretell mechanic.
I actually do like the Foretell mechanic myself.
So let's talk about some of those cards real quick that have the Foretell mechanic on them. So we've got Behold the Multiverse, draw you some cards. We've got Saw It Coming, counter some stuff. Doomscar, who doesn't like a Doomscar for 3 mana? And Rise of the Dreadmarn. So Rise of the Dreadmarn is great with Doomscar.
Absolutely.
So you foretell them, and then you play them later on, and they tie in together, and all of a sudden you got a bunch of zombies.
The thing I like about this deck is it is true to the name itself as Esper Control can be, because it wants to just foretell. On turn 4, you have a huge board presence. I might not be able to deal with this, but you know what? I got these 2 foretell cards. Yeah. I'm going to Doomscar your board. And by the way, I'll make all these zombies.
Yeah. You know, I had nothing to do. Foretell.
Right.
Your turn, opponent. So we'll see how that goes.
Foretell is a great mechanic that they have introduced as a card.
It absolutely is. It's one of my favorite mechanics I've seen in a long time.
It's partially one of mine.
The last, but not least, because there's a bunch of different archetypes in here. But the last one that we want to hit on is going to be Boros Equipment. Take a look at this list, everybody, and just appreciate the Boros Equipment list. So we have Halvar, God of Battle, which the backside is a great sword. And it says that when your creature dies, it comes back to your hand instead. So, that's just insane. We've got the good old-fashioned Embercleave, Maul the Skyclaves, and Zerta the Dawnwaker. Zerta the Dawnwaker just says, I belong in this deck because I'm going to make all of these things cost 2 less to activate and equip.
The Azorius Equipment is probably the aggro deck of the standard cube.
It would be if it were Azorius, but it's Boros.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Azorius?
Yeah,
I meant to say right. Boros.
So Mr. Control always gets the Azorius things in his head because
I'm true to the name.
So yes.
But yes, the Boros deck is the aggro deck of the standard cube.
It sure is.
It puts on so much pressure, and it doesn't care if you wrath me away because my guys come back. Yeah. And then they just keep. It is.
Yeah, my strongest ones do. You know.
It is absolutely fast.
Right. Could you imagine putting that sword on a Haktos?
Oh.
And then they block. Your Haktos dies, comes back. You roll another good number.
Just
insane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first week of season 6, and we're very excited to bring you into this to get your reactions. Feel free to comment down below in the comment section. Give us a like, give us a subscribe and a follow. Check out the videos later on so you can see how our players do go into battle when they draft. And then you can also get to watch their week 1 matches. I'm really excited about this season.
I'm really excited too. It's going to be an interesting season at the least, because we have some really, really strong drafters here today.
Absolutely. Well, with that said, we'll see you guys later on.